Again, welcome everyone and good morning. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Samuel. I'm with F6S. I'm with my colleague Enrique and as mentioned, Evangelos and Melanie from DTU, the coordinators of the AUTOASSESS project. So before we actually start, just some very brief housekeeping or guidance on how to make this an efficient session for everyone. Okay, I would ask that or inform you that the webinar is being recorded. As I just mentioned, it'll be shared through our AUTOASSESS website and through our social media channels so that you can follow up if you'd like to. Okay. When we do a Q&A further down the road, we'll be allowing speakers to speak, allowing the attendees to speak. So if it's easier for you, please rename yourself first, last name, and the entity, and that'll help us also identify you and provide you a more specific answer. Okay, as I mentioned, there'll be a dedicated Q&A. There is the raise hand facility, or you can directly put your question in the chat and we will do our best to answer. Okay, and now as moderator of the session, I'll go through the questions that are put down, and again, we'll do our best to answer. There'll be, we will show further throughout the presentation specific contacts that you can use. So if there's something that comes up in the meantime, please feel free to use that facility as well. Okay, so we'll be here for the next 55 minutes or so. In just a moment, I will hand over the floor to Evangelos for a presentation of AUTOASSESS, okay, what in fact we are doing and looking to do within the project. And that is particularly important because it sets the stage for what we're expecting in as part of the projects that you present and submit to this open call. After that, I will go through the details of what is the most important information to keep in mind if you're planning to apply to this open call. We will have around 10-15 minutes for Q&A, and we'll wrap up with a few tips to prepare your application and then close by 12 CET. Okay. That being said, I pass the floor now to Evangelos. The floor is yours, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. Welcome, everybody. I'm Evangelos Boukas. I am an associate professor here at DTU, and I'm the coordinator of the AUTOASSESS project and the lead PI. And we also have with us Melanie. She's the project manager of the project. Let's go through a quick introduction of the project so you're aware of what it is about. So AUTOASSESS deals with aerial inspection of GNSS denied and confined infrastructures. We have been funded by EU under innovation action. The total budget of the project, including the external the self-financing of the partners, plus the financing from the Swiss government, is 13 million euros. We have 17 partners now after the latest amendment, adding ETH Zurich. We are supposed to finish in September of 27. So yes, next slide, and we have 17 partners as we say. You can see the partners down there. Next slide, please. Perfect. So we need to inspect vessels, ships, large ships, let's say 200-300 meter ships. We need to inspect them so they don't have structural issues. So, for example, as you can see here in this video, if you don't properly maintain the ship, this thing can happen, and this ship is not supposed to be articulated, and it's a tragedy actually because people die when events like that happen, as was the case with this ship. So what we're trying to do is we try to inspect the ships, so we predict if there is going to be some structural failure, and we do that under the correct, let's say, regulations, together with classification societies, together with special experts performing inspections, together with ship owners, etc. So we can go to the next slide, please. So there is several ships out there. So we have more than 50,000 vessels that need regularly to be monitored for corrosion. And so usually when those vessels go for some maintenance work, let's say they go to a dry dock, we human experts go in there and inspect them visually and with thickness measurements like ultrasonic thickness measurement. Um, and the areas where we're interested in are the areas that have structural components for the ship. Those are the ballast tanks and the cargo hold areas. So the problem is that there is on average one death per week. So there's more than 50 deaths every year in these confined spaces, not only for inspection, but all work that happens in there. There's a lot of accidents. It's not a nice place to be. There's not so much air. Sometimes you have inert gas without oxygen. It's a very, very dangerous and bad place to be. Also, the inspection takes a lot of time. So you need at least 15 days to perform a full inspection on the vessel. That means you have to stay to be there on the shipyard. And then the total inspection cost can reach up to €1 million just for the inspection. So if you go to the next slide. So what do we want to do? We want to remove the human surveyors from this procedure. We want to avoid people dying. We want to be able to provide reliable inspection and accurate inspection because humans are not really objective. So two human surveyors will have a little bit of a different opinion, no matter how well they have been trained. Everyone's experience affects their decisions. And then in the meantime, we want to save a lot of money. We estimate that we can save up to €9 billion per year on just on inspection costs. Can we go to the next slide, please? So how are we going to solve this? We want to integrate robots to replace those humans in the tanks. We don't want to completely remove the humans, but we have drones that do the hard part, which is go in the tanks, collect data. So we have three types of robots here that work together. The first one is the exploration UAS. It's a drone that is supposed to fly quickly in the ballast tanks through small manholes, just to get a first view of the tank to be able to create a map afterwards. And then we have a more, let's say, slower but also more capable robot that goes and is able to find the corrosion in images and also touch and take thickness measurements. And then we also have a tethered robot, a robot that can fly forever virtually, which means that we can put that in a cargo hold and it can inspect and touch and take thickness measurements for every surface in the cargo hold. So not in the ballast tank, in the big tank that's the cargo hold. Can we go to the next slide, please? So as you can see, the current status on the left from the summary image is that we have humans being in these bad places, these dangerous areas. So you can see that they have to use lifts and lights. For example, when you're inspecting a cargo hold of a tanker, there is no light that comes in externally. So you have to use your own lights. You have to have gas detectors, making sure that there is no leak or no lack of oxygen. Then you have to go up this kind of dangerous ladders that can be even up to 30 meters. And what we're trying to do is we're going to replace them with two robots, the exploration UAS and the IUAS in the ballast tanks, and one robot, the tethered UAS in the cargo hold. So the overall objective is to remove human surveyors and workers from dangerous and dirty areas and create an autonomous robotic system that exceeds human capabilities and is able to perform maritime vessel classifications. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yes. So there is a vast amount, like technology here. We tried to map it in one graph, and it's probably not enough, but you can see on the left side, we have a user interface, and that means that the user, inspector, or a certified third party can view the current situation of the vessel, can plan new missions for surveying, can look at the threat analysis, and can hopefully extract some reports from the user interface. So as we move from the left to the right, then we have our application areas, where is, as we said, the ballast water tanks of the ships and the cargo holds. Two robots working on the ballast water tanks, one robot working on the cargo hold. And then you can see these verticals is the taxonomy of the different systems that we're using. For example, we have navigation, we have control, we have localization and mapping, and we have machine learning based visual inspection. And all the tools that we're using here, being path planning and mission planning, being perception, being learning for defect detection, etc., have to be used in the correct order in a correct system, let's say. Now, we have three kind of ships that we are operating on. We have the bulk carriers, which can be used for anything to carry rice or metal or anything in between. It's like a big truck. Or we have oil tankers, which they they're full with oil. And we have container ships, which carry the containers. So we can guarantee that we have a big percentage, a large percentage of the shipping industry covered by being able to apply our solution to across all these um, different vessels. So here we are to ask you to work together with us into this novel open calls we went through with everybody in the consortium, and we came up with what we think would be very beneficial to the project, but also to you. And we also have some open calls where you can propose your own ideas. But I think Sam will explain more about this after me.
That's right. I will. Thank you very much, Evangelos. And just picking up where you left off, we already have a first set of 5 projects who are already working with us, funded through a previous open call. Maybe some of our attendees here today had already applied and didn't have the opportunity, but maybe this time around will be the opportunity that you're looking for. So thank you again, Evangelos, for the intro into the AUTOASSESS project. As promised, now we go into the overview of what exactly the open call number 2 for tech innovations is. Okay. As part of, or during the next 15 or 20 minutes, we will be going through the following topics, trying to answer specifically these specific 8 questions, if I may. So what exactly is the open call framework? And then who can apply? Are you eligible to apply? Who are we looking for? What kind of projects are expected? And here we'll briefly go into the challenges that are open, or the challenges that are available to be selected. What are the funding conditions? How to apply? How are applications evaluated and selected? What is the timeline, which is always important? And then what happens if you're selected? Okay, what is the actual program that comes after the selection period? Okay. In terms of framework, very simply, what we're trying to do is what we will be doing rather is to select and award 9 startups, or at least 9 startups and SMEs that present the most innovative ideas aligned with the challenges that we have defined for this second open call. As mentioned, and as we'll see in just a moment, we have an open challenge, which means that in addition to the predefined challenges that we've already defined, pardon the redundancy, we're giving also applicants the opportunity to propose something that is out of the scope of what has been defined, but that is aligned with the larger ambition and vision of the AUTOASSESS project. Okay, and it'll be up to you to convince us that is also a promising application area or an innovative solution. So we have 1.35 million euros available to fund at least 9 projects, and the program duration will be 9 months. Okay. So who are we looking for? This open call is open to single entities or a consortia, exclusively startups or SMEs. Okay. If you're applying solely, you can apply as a startup or an SME, and just below we have the specifics of what a startup or or what we're expecting from a startup. If you're applying as a consortia, that can be of a maximum of 2 entities, and both partners must be startups or SMEs. So if you're working in academia, universities, research, nonprofits, whatever, those are excluded. Okay, startups and SMEs, specifically industry type of entities. If you're wondering what am I a startup, because that will have a difference in terms of the funding conditions that we'll mention in just a moment. The key aspects to keep in mind is that you must have been incorporated for less than 10 years. Okay, so you're only going to be considered a startup if you've been established after 2015, 1st of January, have an innovation-focused business, which in principle, if you're applying to this open call, we assume that that will be the case. And of course, an intention to grow as a business. Okay, so at least two of these are a given. The one that you have to really keep in mind is the incorporation date of 1st of January 2015. Okay, if you don't fulfill these criteria, then you will be considered an SME. Of course, a valid VAT and a PIC number for administrative purposes as well. In terms of countries, so per the traditional, let's say, a cascade funding FSTP rules, this call is open to EU member states in their outermost regions, as well as European Horizon Europe associated countries that are eligible for funding. Keep in mind that this list is varies and changes throughout the time. So what our reference point is the list that was available at the date of the signature of the AUTOASSESS grant agreement, which was the 29th of June 2023. Many things have changed since that time being, so that will be our reference on deciding whether you're an eligible country, that you come from or not an eligible country. Also worth referencing, because sometimes it is also a question, UK and Swiss entities are eligible to participate, okay? But because of the rules mentioned above, we will not provide, you will not receive direct funding from AUTOASSESS if you would like to participate. And if you would like to participate and you are selected, funding must be ensured directly through your own national funding agencies, okay? And we will require that proof to facilitate that process moving forward in the contracting process. In regards to participation and multiple submissions, okay, as any entity, if that might be the case, that has applied to the previous open call, but that was not selected for funding, can apply again to this open call individually or as part of a consortium, okay? Making that choice, applying individually or a consortium, you can only participate once, okay? If you apply alone in one project and then we identify that you've also participated as a second partner in a second project, that will disqualify both, okay? So both projects. So that other entity that was not aware, please keep that in mind, okay? So only one participation, choose the format that best suits what you're able to offer, okay? Yeah, okay. This third point mentions that you can only select also one challenge, regardless of how you participate. So we'll see in we'll see in the next slide what are the challenges that are on the table. You should only select one when you're participating. And of course, naturally, if you've been funded through the first open call, then it is not possible to participate and be funded again through this second open call. So types of projects, okay? As you'll see, and let me mention this again because I haven't done it just yet, everything that we're presenting today is more thoroughly described in the guide for applicants, which is available on the project website. That should always be your reference. Of course, what we're saying here today is a summarized version of that document, which again is your go-to document for applying to the open call. Okay, so again, these challenges which I will present now, are listed in detail in that document. We have 7 specific challenges and 1 open challenge. Okay, so I will not go into the details of each. If there's a specific question that you might have at the moment or during today's session, we will try to answer. If there's something that we are not able to, you can of course reach out to us through the email, through the discussion board, and we will do our best to get a specific answer for you. Let me take the opportunity, and as I mentioned before, this is the first of 2 webinars that we are organizing. The next webinar, which will take place on Thursday, 2nd of April, will be specific to present these challenges. Okay, what exactly are the objectives? What are we requiring? What do we expect you to define as part of your project, your application? Okay, so we highly encourage that everyone join that session as well. Those that are here today, whoever might be watching this recording after, please join us, and the link is available In the guide for applicants, of course, follow our social media and the website for access to the link as well. Okay, so these are the first four challenges. And then if I may, we have, as I mentioned, three additional specific challenges, and then an eighth, which is the open challenge. Okay, where basically you tell us what you can offer, what AutoAssess needs, what your organization is developing that is beyond the state of the art, which fits the larger picture, the larger vision that we have for AutoAssess that Evangelos brilliantly presented a few moments ago. Okay, again, encourage you to participate in the next webinar on the 2nd of April. In terms of funding per project, okay, each application may request a maximum contribution of up to 150,000 euros total grant. Okay. Why did I emphasize the detail of startups and SMEs? Because these are eligible to receive or these are applying at different funding rates. Startups will receive 100%, SMEs 70%. Okay, so there is a co-contribution detail as part of the funding aspects. If you're applying as a consortia, of course, it is important to agree amongst yourselves, align and agree amongst yourself exactly who is receiving what funding rate, and that will, of course, be part of the proposal application that you will submit. We are often asked if subcontracting is eligible. It is, but it must not exceed 25% of the project budget as well. Okay, funds, this being a lump sum type project, cascade funding, funds will be dispersed in lump sums at the end of 3 stages of the funding program, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Of course, naturally, that those payments are only made if you achieve the agreed milestones and objectives that are identified through different reports that you must submit to us. Okay, so that addresses a little bit more of the administrative aspects that you have to keep in mind. If at this stage you already know that you fulfill everything that we're looking for and already looking to understand, okay, what is the next step for me? How can I apply? Here we are. So obviously, we invite you to visit our AutoAssess website. We have on the 4th tab, Open Calls. You'll find Open Call number 2, Apply Now or Open Now. Click on that, and that'll take you to the specific page with details of the open call, what we're looking for, what are the challenges, the timeline that we're looking for. Okay, and further down at the bottom, you will be able to access the documentation kit, which includes the guide for applicants, which I mentioned. It has all the details that we're presenting today, the proposal template, which is a mandatory document that you must complete, upload to as part of your application, and which will be evaluated by internal evaluators. Again, we'll get to that in just a moment. And you have the Apply Now button, which takes you to the F6S form, which is the platform through which submissions are made. Okay, so this is, let's say, the main interface of the application page, where you can find some additional details of what the open call is and what we're looking for. To start the process, you click on the button, submit your application. Okay, it already identifies exactly the deadline, which is the 5th of May. And once that comes up, you'll see an administrative form where we ask a set of relevant information, where we want to collect information about the applying entity, whether you're applying alone or individually, what type of entity you're applying as, okay? And keep in mind that if you're selected, we will also be cross-checking that information through specific documents that are available also on the project website, the Declaration of Honor, SME declaration, if you're applying as a consortium declaration of honor, okay? There's a set of administrative documentation, some other, let's say, requirement questions that we need you to fill out because there's sharing of data, and you must, of course, accept the terms and conditions of participating in the open call. Once you've completed the form, uploaded the proposal template, which is done through a specific question, you submit your application. And of course, we're notified you and the process then for evaluation will start. Something to keep in mind, once you submit your application, it is formally submitted, which is to say that if post-submission you identify that you need to fix something, you want to provide an updated version, and assuming that you're within still a few days of the deadline, you can request the application to be open, and then we will open that for you. Okay. This is not something that is done automatically on your end. It is something that has to be requested. So prepare in advance, make sure to avoid any potential issue, make sure you read thoroughly through the application before you submit, because we don't want to run the risk that there is a mistake and that it's too late to make any fixes. As mentioned, there is a technical proposal template that you must download and fill out. Okay, it is, as we'll see in the next slide, it consists of some additional information about your proposal, and then it is structured into specific criteria that are the evaluation criteria. The proposal template is very specific in what we're looking for in each section. Okay, those are the sections that will be evaluated, and then based on the scores given, provide your final score. So what are these, what exactly is the evaluation process? How are applications evaluated, and how is the selection done? Okay, a two-step process. Naturally, the first step before we evaluate all applications is to go through an initial administrative eligibility check. We've gone through at the beginning of this, my presentation, what we're looking for in terms of entities, countries, multiple submissions. So that's the first thing that we're going to do, is if you've complied with those administrative aspects. We'll be looking whether you're applying if you're a legal entity, applying as a startup and SME that is eligible for funding, if you're within a country, an eligible country, if you've complied with the participation and submission rules. So if we're not seeing your participation in more than one proposal, if you've somehow been already funded through the first open call and are applying again, if you're complying with the funding conditions, and if you've used the correct templates, respecting the page limits and the language. Often we see some applications uploading a pitch deck, or a Word document with just 2 or 3 pages, and not addressing at all the criteria that we've defined. Okay, that is grounds for your application to be ineligible. If that is the case, you will receive notification of the reasons why your application is not eligible, if it does not meet any one of these items that I've listed here on the left column. Okay. If you're eligible, and we hope that you are, you move on to the full remote, let's say, evaluation process, which will be carried out by the AUTOASSESS team that is also responsible for the drafting of the challenges. Okay, so no one better than those AUTOASSESS partners know exactly what they're looking for in with the challenges and the applications. Okay, so it'll be an internal evaluation. There are 4 criteria that you have to keep in mind. Again, as I mentioned, these are the criteria that are part of the technical proposal template that I showed moments ago. The first criteria being the technology concept. So exactly how does your proposal align with AUTOASSESS project and the selected challenge that you've selected? What is the novelty of your solution? Second criteria, the ambition and scalability potential. How are you contributing to the broader AUTOASSESS impact? How are you contributing to industry transformation? How are you going to also promote your project and take your solution to the next level? Okay. What we don't like to see are solutions that are, receive funding and then, stop there. We want to see the ambition that you have to take, or to leverage the AUTOASSESS funding that you receive and take it to the next level, okay, and commercialize eventually your solution, okay? So it's also important to keep in mind and already show and convince us that you have a solid plan for exploiting your project after the end of the AUTOASSESS funding. Okay, third criteria is the implementation. Exactly what you will be doing, delivering over the 9 months of the program. Okay, what are the different activities? What are the results you're going to achieve? What are the KPIs, barriers and risks? Okay, as well as how you will address them. We are talking about working on large vessels. We're talking about robotics. We're talking about many things that could be a challenge, and it is important to also be able to identify those at an early stage and have a proper mitigation approach, okay, as well as rationale of costs. So things that I've mentioned before in terms of distribution of money, where you're allocating, is it human resources? Do you need equipment? Is subcontracting involved? That should also be broken down and properly explained. And last but not least, team skills and expertise. Okay, we want to know that who you are, what experience you have, what do you bring to the table to properly implement the project that you've submitted. So timeline from launch until funding. So we launched on the 2nd of March, so approximately maybe 10 days ago, I think it is. Today's the 12th, and will be open until the 5th of May. Okay. So all proposals, as mentioned, are submitted exclusively through F-Success. After that period, we start the internal evaluation process. After comes the selection. Okay, we do first an eligibility check, as mentioned. If it is eligible, we move on to the remote evaluation. If not, you receive a rejection letter and an evaluation report explaining, excuse me, the reasons for your non-eligibility. Okay. The remote evaluation will take approximately 2 or 3 weeks. After that is done, we prepare the evaluation reports. If you're selected for funding, you will be notified and then you move on to the administrative check and the contracting phase. If not, you will also receive a letter with the results. So regardless, you will always receive a letter with your score, some comments proposed, and then those that are selected for funding will be invited to the contracting phase. Starting July 1st, which is the date we have as the objective for starting the program, you will start the 9-month program as mentioned, which is divided into 3 stages. Stage 1, which will run for 1 month, stage 2, 6 months, stage 3, an additional 2 months, and at the end of each stage, we'll have a review. We'll have a report that you will have to submit. Okay. So speaking of that in a bit more detail, what happens, in fact, if you are selected, there's a subgrant agreement process, which will take 3 weeks up to a month, where we ask you for specific information. We do that verification. We will handle all the contracting that is needed. On the 1st of July is our target date, as just mentioned. We start with the planning stage, which will run for a month, together with the challenge owner, which will end up being a monitor, a close expert that you will be working with. You review the work plan, fine tune anything that has to be done, address any specific aspects of the project that might have been missed, better define KPIs, things like that. Okay, that will lead to a first report. Which unblocks a 40% payment. After that, we move on to the develop and integrate plan, 6 months, okay, the actual development of the solution as needed following the requirements of the challenge that you've selected. Okay, after that, at the end of that phase, a second payment of 40%. And last but not least, the assess stage, 2 months, where you do final testing, validation, any demonstrations that are needed, conclusions, of course, and reflecting on the work that you've done, how you've made a contribution to this, to the AUTOASSESS project, and made an impact in the industry. Okay. So last but not least, before we give the floor to some Q&A, I leave with you important links to keep in mind. Okay, here's autoassess.eu is our website. f6s.com is where you can apply. If you have a doubt, please reach out to us at AUTOASSESS Open Call at f6s.com. We have a discussion board where you can put down your questions that is shared with everyone who is interested in the open call. If there's a specific issue with the platform, there is the support at f6s.com to be used. Okay, so I will stop now for a small breather and a glass of water, and we will open the floor to Q&A from the audience. And feel free to use the raise hand facility. I think that we have that, or the webinar chat for listing down your questions. Camila Rodriguez, how about you? Let's see if this works. You should receive a notification that I think your mic is active. Please
Yeah.
give it.
Can
Hello.
you hear me?
Yes, we
Hello.
can. Hi, welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you. Thank you for the talk. I'm Camila Rodriguez from EONC. We are a company from Spain, a startup, and normally we do what the project is looking for, but for underwater, the underwater part of the boats. So I was wondering, we have like artificial vision characteristics and technologies, and I was wondering that we can fit very well with challenge 4 and 5, but also if you would like to maybe have proposals from also the underwater part of the vessels to fit in the challenge 8, for instance, that is the open challenge. So it's more like what fits inside of the project scope. We just translate our technology to vessels, not only the underwater part, or it's the project is open to receive a different challenge more in the underwater part.
Great question. I mean, I think this is partially to be, I'll give you the floor, Evangelist, because I know you have an answer, but my first answer would be before the possibility of open challenge is always think about where I think you have to do a first reflection of what is the best value that I can offer aligned with the challenges that are available. Okay, so
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think that you fit with one challenge and that you have a breakthrough solution for that, I mean, maybe that might be your best chance. But I mean, of course, we do want to fund eventually one or two maybe open challenges. So I mean, if that's something that we're looking for, maybe Evangelos, now is the time you step in and see if there's a fit based on what Camila mentioned.
Yes. So, hi, Camila. Thanks for the question.
Hello.
Um, so the challenge 4 and 5
Yes.
is those are challenges that are they were generated because of our need that we have to connect to um, to regulators, to
Yeah.
people who have experience in performing the inspections. We come from the robotics point of view, and then there's
Okay.
the material science and all this. So all the expertise that the classification societies have. For example, I think for package 4, not I think task challenge 4 deals a lot
Yeah.
with finite element modeling analysis, etc., and that you already have some experience with the
Yeah.
SIP analysis of finite element models. And I think
Yeah.
the challenge 5 is people who we are doing a lot of detection of corrosion and things like that. And
Yeah.
in we want someone who has experience in doing the inspections visually, etc. How do we combine this qualitative and quantitative assessment of the auto assess? So this is kind of maybe it's too technical now, the discussion. I don't want to go into much, but we're looking for experts within, I think, the maritime industry that have done this kind of inspection before,
Yeah.
etc., etc. Your proposal, as I hear it, or the one that you would go for the open call, would be inspection from outside the vessel, like
Yeah.
with an underwater robot, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
sure, this is something that's interesting. It's not outside of the field, so I would definitely believe that this is something that is interesting. Now, of course, we have to. I cannot promise anything. Of course, we
Of
have to
course.
look at what the proposals are going to be submitted. So, if there is something that is really, really like that came up and was really urgent, then it could get priority over something that is, for example, outside the ship. But since you can see even in the call, we have something that has to do with engine room uh, inspection even. So you can see that we go a little bit outside of
Yes.
exactly inspection inside the ships only with drones, etc. So
Yeah.
definitely it is not it's not out of
Of the
scope.
scope.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think it's out of the scope. No.
Yeah. My question was just because the challenge 5, it's what we normally do, but out of the vessel. So it's very easy for us to transfer this technology to other parts of the boat and inside of the boat. I mean, processing underwater image is very complicated, and the step to just translate this technology is very easy. But it's true that maybe you are interested also in this part, into what I already do. So
Yeah.
it's just that's my question actually. So thank you, Evangelos.
Yeah. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you, Camila, for the question. I mean, as mentioned before, our next webinar on the 2nd, as in the slide that's still on the screen, we will have the challenge owners available with us, and then there will be the opportunity to get to know a little bit more directly from them what exactly they're looking for. So that might be an opportunity to also help with your assessment of your possibilities. Okay, so we have a question from now Tiago Santos. I will allow you to talk.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I've written the question, but since you said you'd rather have it by voice, I asked you to give me the mic. And the question is really simple, and it's more administrative and regulatory than technical. It's regarding the regulations under which the grant is being granted. Is it the minimis? RGCI? Okay, the concern is like under the minimis regulations, an SME is obliged to have funding in 3 years under 300,000 euros. So we cannot go over that funding threshold. And if this call is under that regulation, the minimis regulation, it
No,
isn't.
So
Okay,
we're not
okay.
looking into those details of previous. The only thing that the main thing that we're looking for is exactly startups versus SME, which have specific rules, and ensuring that you haven't been funded previously in the open call. Other than that, no, we're not looking into particular funding details of you as a single entity, if that answers your
Okay.
question.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it does.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tiago. Apologies. I think next in line, Neviana. I will give you the opportunity to talk.
It asks only about the opportunity to receive this presentation because it is very well done. It is short and clear, and it is easy to read it.
Yeah, thank you, Neviana. Of course, we will share both the presentation and the video. I think still maybe today or by the end of the week we will be able to upload the video to our channels, and then we'll put the presentation as well on our social or linked through social media to our website or directly via email to the applicants. So I encourage you to look at the website shortly, and you can find it there. But probably I will be able to send the PDF directly to the participants from today. Okay. Okay, so there is Pilar. Hello.
Thank you all. My name is Pilar Armas. I come from Fluendo. It's an SME, Spanish SME. And my question is about the challenges, because we have been reviewing the challenges, and we believe we could partially cover some of the challenges. So, for example, challenge number 7. If that is the case, that we submit a solution that partially covers challenge 7, would it make sense, or should we rather submit it under open challenge? Or I don't know if we are supposed to cover the whole challenge with our solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Pilar. Evangelos.
So I can answer that, yes. So these challenges actually come out of the needs of the project and the way that we have discussed what would be nice to have or what is necessary to have in the project. So I believe that unless if there is nobody who has who can fulfill the specific descriptions, the challenge 7 here is for the user interface. We need something that stands between our high-level mission planning and our low-level robotics solution. It sits there in the middle and allows the user to both deal with the high-level things, but also to see live from the robot and send commands, etc. It's something that we already have in the project, but it's not user-friendly or anything like that. So we thought that someone can develop that. It came out of this collaboration between NTNU and Cognite, and so we need the whole thing. But if nobody is able to provide the whole thing, you can't have chances. But if there is someone, even that is worse in those parts that you have already, that covers the whole thing, they will be selected because they cover the whole thing. So I would say in your case, the bet is if you go to the open call. That's and again, I don't know, maybe you think that you have the partial thing and you have the whole thing somehow. I don't want to not allow you to go to challenge 7. I'm just saying that probably if you know that you are not fulfilling the whole challenge 7, a single applicant that fills the whole challenge 7 will be selected for that.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pilar. I mean, there's always, as I think Evangelist was saying, there's always a risk in not fulfilling everything that is required, but it might be the case that no other application fulfills just as close as you do. So, I mean, again, let me emphasize the opportunity to be in the next webinar. Maybe there'll be some details, some specific aspects that you can bring to that discussion, and it might help you with your selection process. Okay, I don't see any other hands raised, but I do see a couple of questions in the Q&A, which I will do my best to answer. There is one related with what is the exact date by which a startup must be officially established. And I believe that was on the slide here, the 1st of January 2015, okay? So here this is the answer. Anyone after, or any entity incorporated after 1st of January or established after 1st of January 2015 is our, let's say, threshold for considering that it is a startup. Okay.
But maybe sorry, just to add.
Yeah.
Maybe the question was, do they have to be alive for a minimum amount of time?
No.
Maybe the question was about that.
Did
they have to be? Because that's how I read it.
What is exact date by which the startup must be officially established? So no minimum, but at least no older than that, I guess.
Okay, great. So it could be like, I don't know, 2 months ago or something, right? Or
yeah,
that's fine.
Could be
Okay.
2 months ago.
Okay.
Actually, Antonio has raised his hand in the meantime. Maybe he wants to clarify exactly what he's looking for.
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, we do. Welcome.
Hello. Yeah, I wanted to ask only what is like if you get selected, you must be a startup before you get selected, or do you have like a buffer, some days, weeks to establish the startup? Like last year was asked the same question in last year's webinar.
So you're not unincorporated officially at the moment?
Not yet. We are in the process.
Okay, so I mean there are a set of documents that will be required. So if you are not able to fulfill them at the time, if you are selected to fulfill them, then that is a risk. Okay. So if you cannot prove that you are, legally established or, to start off, I mean, we need that kind of details to be able to onboard you
like
to the
the
program.
VAT, you mean, right?
Among others, I mean. So
Okay,
there is a set of requirements that we do need, and if you established yourself in January and I mean had 3 months, then okay, you're a startup with 3 months, but you have all the documentation that proves your legal status, I would say. So we do need that as part of the contracting process. If it's something that, I mean, we want to start on the 1st of July, so contracting process might happen sometime in early June. So, I mean, keep those windows, that period in mind. I don't know exactly where you're from. I don't know how fast bureaucracy might be where you're from, but that's something, I mean, we can't promise anything, but those are documents that we do need.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Antonio. Okay, I think there was a couple of additional questions. There's a question from Tina asking about if a startup funded, I guess, and owned by or founded and owned by a large company, is it eligible to apply for the call? I mean, there is no right answer or direct answer because that depends how then you fit within the SME rules and whether you are fully naturally, in this case, you would probably not be autonomous, but whether you are a linked enterprise, and if that's the case, how does that larger company influence, let's say, your scope as an organization? Okay. So, I mean, feel free to reach out directly to us with a bit more details, and then we might be able to already anticipate whether you would be eligible or if your situation would put you out of scope. Okay, I think that's the only thing we can really guarantee at the moment is maybe getting from you a few more details. Okay, Tina? So feel free to reach out to us at, let me bring up the email. Here you are, just in case. Okay, I hope that answers.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is, because I assume that you already have robots working under this project, and the open challenge I have in mind would require some information about these robots, like, for example, dimensions of them, or maybe a picture or something like this. It's would be helpful to even kind of decide if we should propose this open challenge.
Can you specify, please, the challenge?
Well, I'm not sure if I should have
Okay.
what my idea is.
Okay, sorry, but not what your idea is, but maybe which challenge you're referring to. I'm just saying, if it's the open challenge, for example, is one thing I can answer in general. If it's like one specific challenge, I can answer more specifically. There are several. Sorry, Sam, for interrupting, but there are several robots we have been building in here. As you see, our partners are Flyability and Scout. So we have a Flyability Helios 3 that is a little bit adapted for our needs, and then we have a Scout 137, which is also a bit adapted for our needs. So those are public information you can find.
Okay.
Then we have several other robots that we have built in-house. There is one by Twente, there is one by NTNU. The reason that we don't have all the robots in all the dimensions is just to not confuse people. But if you have any specific questions you wanna please, and you don't want to share here, etc., please send an email to us. There is an email here from F6S, AUTOASSESS Open Call, and we will reach back to you with extra information. In the case that it's obvious to us that there is a necessity, we will upload this information also to everybody to have access to other people. So there's no preferential treatment for anybody.
Mhm.
And that is the reason I'm asking you if you have a specific challenge, because then it would be clear that it is necessary to upload those information.
Okay, so my idea is to perhaps come up with a solution for retrieving the robots in case they don't work. So kind of a rescue mission,
Yes.
additional functionality that would kind of eliminate the necessity of sending people to kind of take
You're saying you don't need to say
unfunctioning robot from the.
yes. And I understand what you're saying. So the largest robot we will have would be the Flyability Helios 3. So you can find the spec.
Okay.
So to wrap up, a couple of tips when you're preparing your application. I hope today's session was clear, and if anything wasn't, then you can always have, again, a check at the documents and reach out to us if there's anything that you need more clarification on. So we encourage that you go through all the documents, specifically the guidelines for applicants. Okay, it provides everything that we discussed today and even other items in more detail. And there is a page limit to the proposal template, so be clear and specific. Okay, we want to ensure that the evaluators understand exactly what your project is, what the concept is, the scope, the objectives, how you align with the challenges. Okay, so make use of the still month and a half that you have. Make questions if you have them. Make sure you're preparing and submitting the best proposal you can. That leads exactly to the next point, which is the open call runs for more than 2 months or just over 2 months. Okay, so I emphasize prepare carefully, ask questions, and submit well ahead of the deadline so that if you need to ask for reopening, we can do it for you with sufficient time. If we're receiving requests 20 minutes ahead of the deadline, we can't promise anything. Okay. Attend our webinars, rewatch them, and of course, join our next webinar on the 2nd of April. These are in terms of steps, I'll skip this because I think it was sufficiently clear. Those that will check the presentation will have the details. Okay, so we expect to announce results second half of June, hopefully earlier, so that we can start just before the summer on the 1st of July. Okay, keep in mind the deadline of the 5th of May for this open call. Okay, so last slide. In a nutshell, we are looking for innovative solutions addressing the 7 specific AUTOASSESS challenges or the open challenge. Okay, that is not correct. It's 150,000 equity free to fund up to 9 projects, startups or SMEs. Apply alone or in a consortium. You must select one of the challenges. What do we have for you? A good amount of equity-free funding. Okay, always good to keep your innovative ideas rolling. We will have business and technical support provided through the coaches and the mentors of AUTOASSESS, and then naturally visibility and promotion that both you and the AUTOASSESS project can benefit from. Okay, so that wraps up the webinar for today. I want to thank Evangelos and Melanie and Rita for being with us, being with me today. Thank you everyone for having joined, and we will be in touch. AUTOASSESS wishes you a lovely afternoon and hopefully a successful application. Okay, take care everyone. Have a rest of a lovely day.